Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslick talking about Reciprocity.com, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I am trying to build. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is what is reciprocity. And then I'm going to get into the science and theory of reciprocity and the science and theory of give and take, which I think are so important. It is central to a lot of how we behave and interact in the world. So what I'm going to do in this particular video is get in to find what exactly is reciprocity, then get into some of the science and different forms of reciprocity, and then finally talk about why it's kind of a really curious thing. And why we are so, it's so unusual, but it's so central to what we do. And then maybe I'll get into some mechanisms and how we can encourage reciprocity to happen. And then finally, why I'm actually trying to create this proofreading platform, sharing economy proofreading platform, because I think it's really exciting. So with that, what is reciprocity? Well, reciprocity is some sort of mutual exchange of a good or service. So this is where a giver of sorts will provide some sort of service or gift or product and then give it to somebody else. And there's generally, when there is this gift that's presented, there's generally no expectation of any sort of way that there's going to be anything that comes back. But generally what happens is that the receiver feels some sort of cognitive dissonance. They feel a little bit uneasy is really what that means. There's like, ooh, I should actually give back because I received some benefit from somebody and I haven't done anything about that. So this is generally a feeling of unease that we get. So what we do as human beings is like, when we get something, we're like, ooh, we got to give something back. So this is the idea, when there's those Christmas cards that you get or thank you cards that get, I think it's hilarious that this happens because my wife and I will do this. We'll give a gift to somebody. We will get a thank you card for that gift because they feel obliged to give a thank you card to us because there's this cognitive dissonance that you get. You're like, yeesh, I got this gift. I should give something back to say, oh, well, I'm very, very thankful for what you did. So you give it back. And then what ends up happening is you're like, ooh, should I give a thank you card back for the gift that I gave and the thank you card I received from that? And then you end up giving another thank you card back for the thank you card. And then it just becomes this sort of spiraling relationship that happens. And that is totally normal. That's just us reacting from being human beings where we're just like, we want to give back as much. Whenever we receive something, we want to give back. We want to sort of equalize. We're always trying to equalize the amount of, say, reciprocity credits that you get and try to normalize what we get. So whenever we receive something, we want to give back. And what's really, really cool is that this is central to being human. This is how we become a normal human being. This is how societies build up. And there's been a lot of research on this over the years. And a lot of us believe that this is a central part of marketplaces, of how exchange actually happens, that we don't necessarily do just kind of like give and get, take and take and take. That sort of view of capitalism or marketplaces, that doesn't work. What ends up happening is that there is so many people that are giving and giving and giving that eventually people feel really obliged to give back. And so we believe that marketplaces, democracy, for example, the reason why we give back, the reason why people become politicians, it's not the money, it's not the power, is they're trying to give back to society because they feel that they received a lot from that, right? Social capital and the idea of building a relationship with somebody. So that is basically what social capital is building a relationship. That idea is, that's how social capital actually builds, is we give and 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 we give until people start feeling, well, I received so much stuff from this particular person, maybe I should get something, or maybe I should give something back in exchange. And that's how that builds. And that's how that's how you build relationships. That's how you build friendships, where you go and you constantly give to somebody and not, you don't want to expect anything in return, but you just keep giving and giving and giving until a relationship forms and they're like, yeah, you know what, this person's really cool and amazing. I should return the favor. Because again, in your mind, you're always trying to sort of equalize the level of reciprocity credits that you have. You're trying to equalize it because you have this sort of social, this cognitive dissonance that happens. Now, here's the really cool thing, is that there's multiple kinds of reciprocity. There is this sort of direct form, right? I give to you and you will probably give to me at some point, and there's this sort of direct relationship. Marketers really know this kind of stuff, right? So if you ever go online, if you ever do anything nowadays, right? You get a Netflix subscription, you always get a free month. You get free something at the beginning, because marketers know that the default is to always, I got this for free. Maybe I should give something back. Maybe I should start paying for this service. And they know that. That is the trick, right? So you might get a charitable gift, for example. Every once in a while, I'll get from this one charity, I will get an envelope with a stamp that's just attached to it in expectation that and it'll be a blank envelope. They're giving me the envelope, right, with a stamp on it, in the expectation that I'm going to give back in return in some sort of way. And a lot of people do sort of feel obliged because they received that stamp and that blank envelope, and they give back. That's just our sort of us being human beings. So marketers do know this kind of stuff. There is another form of reciprocity that's even kind of odder and stranger. It is a generalized form of reciprocity. And this is all based on research that Wayne Baker and Baker Levine have been doing and working on. They have an amazing paper, and I'm just sort of doing a tip of the hat, a kudos to that particular person, those particular people that have written about this. But basically, this is a form where you give back because you believe in sort of karma, right? That you believe in just paying it forward for no reason. You're giving back to one particular person, and you're not expecting to get anything back in return from that particular person. You might get it back from somebody else out there. So you're giving back, and this sort of credits accumulate, and somebody else gives back in return, and you just don't know who it's from. So it's a really odd situation where we have this pay it forward response, or this pay it forward belief. It's sort of a karmic response where you have, what goes around comes around sort of belief, where you give stuff and maybe eventually the world is going to equate and sort of level out, and you're going to get something in return. Eventually, maybe you don't, but maybe that there is that in return, and that there's this belief that that's actually going to happen. So here's the really odd thing with reciprocity, though. This is the particularly strange thing that we have been somewhat puzzled. There's been a tremendous amount of research on this, and that a lot of people don't believe a rational human being should actually do any sort of reciprocal have any sort of reciprocal relationships or anything like that, or believe in reciprocity. What you should do as a human being is be very, very self-interested in the fact that what you do is you calculate decisions, and all of your decisions should be maximizing your own utility, your own wealth, your own goodness, and not get anything back. And so there's been a lot, or not sort of give anything beyond that. And so there's been a lot of research in trying to explain why that is the case. Maybe it's people being very altruistic, for example, and just giving back to somebody. Maybe they get some sort of emotional response by giving to somebody, and they are benefiting from that in some sort of way, from this belief of giving back. But it is a really tough thing that's happening, or a tough thing to sort of that we're sort of puzzling and thinking through, and why this actually occurs. But the crazy thing is most businesses and most societies out there benefit tremendously from this generalized form of reciprocity, and as well as from, reciprocity in general. And it is a backbone of how businesses work, right? And negotiations work that way as well. If you didn't know that it's all about building relationships with people and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. And then maybe you will receive eventually. You want to give probably 1,000 times as much as what you received in exchange for that. So there's, different examples like this, such as, online sort of open source software where people are just putting stuff onto this sort of platform, or they're developing some sort of software. Coders are developing this software. Wikipedia is a really great example where people are just giving to give for no reason, right? They're just, or it appears that there's no reason, they're just giving to give. So here I'm going to come back to this really cool paper by Baker and Levine, and they pointed out the reason why, or some reasons why there might be sort of this generalized form of reciprocity is that people have this disposition to give when they know that other people that are receiving this were really that they were very giving in of themselves. So you want to give back to people that are very giving, as well as the giver they also benefited tremendously from everything that was given to them. So then they feel obliged to give back to other people. And there is another thing, that there might be some sort of social capital building thing or reputation building thing that's happening, where people believe that, if I give, then I might start building a reputation on this particular thing, and that's how you build a reputation. And so they showed, and they did some really cool experiments and showed that indeed, if you received a lot from somebody else from in the ether, as well as that the other people are amazing that you're giving to, and they're very, very generous, and that your actions are very public, in that you can build a reputation from this, that people are way, way more likely to give, and they're to sort of just give to give. It is very, very high in terms of, it's very, very high percentage of people are willing to give and just be amazing human beings, and just be so nice and generous, and be, just do things just for the hell of it, and to be just to be kind to others. And what they also showed is that there are tremendous differences between people in their sort of values that they have. So if you're very self-centric, right, so you're constantly thinking about yourself and what you can get from a situation, you're not very likely to participate in anything like that, and sort of believe in reciprocity. But if you believe in other people and the benefits that, you really believe in what other people, that you want to give to others and sort of grow and give to others, then you yourself are going to be much more likely to participate in some sort of reciprocity and give to others, just to give to others because you like others, right? You love other people. And this is really coming back to building reciprocity, the sharing economy proofreading platform that I'm trying to build. You can check it out. The E is spelled with a 3. This is kind of really the reasons why, when I was reading this paper, I'm like, holy cow, this is a lot of the stuff that I was believing in, and I had some beliefs in, that yes, you can build a marketplace and all that kind of stuff with this sort of belief, but as well as I'm really I've always been really other-centric and sort of thought about other people, and I think other people are amazing. My default is, and yes, I do get surprised all the time, but my default is to believe that other people are amazing and that they have very, very good intentions. They just don't have the resources often, or they, maybe they have bad experiences themselves, so they don't give back. But I really do believe that people have very good intentions and they want to give back and be amazing. And that has been sort of my belief. The other thing that I think is really cool is I think, so there's been all this research that has been talking about reciprocity and all that kind of stuff for years and years and years and how beneficial it is. I think what would be really cool is if we can create a marketplace, based on these ideas that are, it's very explicit that I'm trying to do, yes, some sort of form of social engineering, right? That and I'm the evil professor sort of thing. But, I don't believe that's the case in this particular form. I'm trying to actually make people, and I'm trying to develop this to show that some of these ideas actually do work and that people are genuinely amazing and that they really do care for others. And if we can create a system where the community is not about sort of trashing other people and creating sort of this, making other people feel bad and stuff like that, but rather building people up and building a community where people feel really amazing about themselves and want to give back, and people are part of something that is that really believes in the goodness and kindness of others. I'm game. I really want to try building something like this. So that's actually why I created Reciprocity, is to create a system where you can go on there, and if you don't have money, well, that's great. But and if you think you have skills, that's great, because what you can do is you can go and try to participate in the queue and help proofread other people's work. And if you do have money, and so the trouble is with that, I'm going to be upfront, it does take a long time. There's been a lot of people sitting in the queue. But when the other thing that you could do is you could purchase credits by just going on there and purchasing credits, and then you get put in the queue automatically and get your own work proofread very quickly. And then you can also reciprocate and help other people at the same time. And what's the cool thing is that for any sort of these reciprocity exchanges, I made it so the system is going to be completely free. So if you are just kind of exchanging on there, what ends up happening is that whenever you pay for something, it's going to go, and they just do it for 100. If the people are participating just for reciprocity's sake, the editors are participating for reciprocity's sake, they get 100% of the credits. It's only when they take money out of the system. So if you want to sort of earn money, and the reason why there's going to be a system fee, and the only reason I'm doing that is because it's really expensive to run something like this and develop something like this. I need to make sure that it's self-sustaining. So I'm a professor of innovation and entrepreneurship and strategy, and we have to think about this. How do we build something that is self-sustaining and will continue to grow? And there is this portion, there's those fees that have to be taken out so I can continue to invest in it and sort of maintain it. Right now, it's not. Right? I'm just being very, very generous at this point, and sort of, I was like, I'm going to build this. I think it's cool. And I paid for contract developers. I've invested, at this point, thousands of hours in this particular project because I think it's really cool, and I think we can. I really want to give back, and I really want to help out other people. But right now it's at a loss, total loss for me and my family. But I really do believe in the kindness of others, and that's all I wanted to say with that particular thing. And that's why I have these fees, is to make sure that maybe eventually something is going to come back and I can start, growing and making this develop and making this better and making it perhaps, start making in some of these mechanisms to ensure that there is more reciprocity that happens and more people benefit from this kind of exchange, because I think it's a really cool idea. It's central to how we understand markets working, as well as it is central to the way that the world works. And if we can sort of explore and see if this actually works, that's a really, really cool, phenomenal thing that we can do. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I really, truly want to thank you for listening all the way through, and as well as just being amazing with this project. And for those of you who are subscribed already, thank you so much. You're so cool. I'm going to give you one of those, By the way, if this video you like, do one of those. It does help with sort of spreading the word and getting it out there and making sure the search engines find this kind of stuff. The other thing that you can do is just go and watch old videos, and that helps. And that's the only thing that you can, if that's the only thing that you can do and you don't want to participate in any other sort of way, but you think this is a cool idea, just go watch the old videos. There's a lot of stuff there on, how do businesses work? What is strategy? Different things. If you're in school, thinking about graduate school, if you are, if you're a writer, how can you write and get tips and tricks and stuff like that. So thank you so much. I do appreciate everything that you've done so far. Take care and have a good day. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye.